So good end to the season. Finished 7th. Pretty, I suppose, frustrating but satisfying, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously it's not what we could have done. I'll be honest. We set ourselves a target with 10 games to go that if we could get 20 points, we'll be there or thereabouts. And after 5 of those first 5 games of that run of 10, we were ahead of schedule, and then we just forgot how to put the ball in the back of the net for the other 3 or 4 games, and it sort of cost us really. So but so there is a feeling of disappointment because, as I said, I think we're good enough, or perhaps we're not, which is why we're 7th. It's a discussion for another day maybe. But as I said, with that 10 games to go, you thought 20 points, 2 points a game, that gets us in there. And as I said, after 5 games, we were right. We were right in amongst it, off the back of a really difficult run of fixtures as well. But then, as I said, we just missed too many chances. So I think the fact that we got as close as we have is really positive from where we were at. But what we can't also do is can't just accept that. We've got to think, right, how when the opportunity comes round again, how can we make sure that we're better equipped to deliver? But equally, I don't think it's anything to be sniffed at in terms of that 7th position and joint highest league finish at the club at step 3. I think that's a real positive, and I think that's something that the players can be proud of as well. And that's one thing I did say to the lads on Saturday was, because there has been a bit of disappointment around the group because we do feel like we've not made the most of the situation that we got ourselves in. But then when you do step back, we said to the players, just make sure that we do hit that target and we do achieve that joint record, because we deserve it. We've some of the football that we've played and the performances we've produced and the points that we've put on the board since October, November, they should be really proud of, because it's been some good going. There's a tinge of disappointment, or probably more than a tinge of disappointment, but also, when all's said and done, if we can add a Senior Cup final win to that league position, it's been a pretty decent few months.
Yeah, for sure. So you took over in October, didn't you?
Yeah.
And obviously we talked again when you signed your new contract about your ambitions at the time. When you came in, you were thinking, stay up.
Yeah.
And we've done more than that. And as you were saying, I thought the players looked disappointed on Saturday when they finished, if they felt they'd finished on a bit of a low note, although that's a bit harsh, like it's being harsh on themselves. If you look back over the season, the squad's really evolved now. How do you feel it's gone for you, given what you were thinking when you took it over? From a personal point of view, not from the team point of view.
I mean, we're further along than what we thought we would be. I think that's. But then equally, without sounding arrogant, you sort of back yourself to actually, even though we were in a pretty poor position, there was enough time to have a right go at it still. So whilst there was a lot of talk about potential relegation and making sure we stay at step 3, I was very much more thinking, well, we might not be at step 3 next year because we're at step 2. That's more my sort of mentality, really.
Yeah.
So, and same as the staff. So, as I said, we certainly weren't in the best position, but we also backed ourselves to go, actually, we can still have a really good go at it. And I think we've done that. I mean, one of the biggest things is I look at the makeup of the side now and the average age of the squad, and I look at the connection between the supporters and the squad, and it feels a lot more aligned than what it did. I don't think there's anyone at the football club now that is here for the wrong reasons, or whether that's the right thing to say. I'm not sure, but I feel like we've got a group of players that are really invested in Hastings United. They want, they're proud to be playing for the football club, and they enjoy playing for the football club. That they want to leave nothing out there. One for themselves and each other, but also because they're the right type of people. But also, I think they're proud to be, as I said, representing the club, and they want to give the supporters their money's worth. And I think that's a powerful thing. And I think that will always happen when you get a core of local players playing for the club. And the big thing for us is we want to make sure that if the best local players are playing for this football club, and I think we've taken some real positive steps towards that goal. We're happy with where we're at, but I'm incredibly impatient.
Yeah.
As I said, as soon as we got within touching distance of the playoffs, it was very much right. We can get up now. And when you see us do what we've done to Hornchurch and Chatham and the top teams in the league, and take a lot of points off them, it sort of just makes you think, what could we have done if we just found a little bit more consistency? But then that's often the trade-off with a young group. It can lack consistency, so it's you win some, you lose some, I guess.
Yeah. So also you've got a very young coaching team and backup team in place. Ben took on the job of lead coach, didn't he? Yeah. And you've got obviously young. I mean, James and Bobby are both young as well.
Yeah.
How do you think that group has done? How have you felt about that team you've got around you this year?
Well, James isn't that young for one.
It's all relative, Chris.
Right. Good. I mean, that's something I sort of pride myself on as a leader as well. That you want not just the players, you want the people around you to develop and improve and move in the right direction. And I've been pleased with how everyone's sort of taken on the challenge. Really, it's probably something I've done a little bit better this time around than what I did first time around. I've probably delegated a little bit more and give people a little bit more responsibility and autonomy, and I think that's certainly had a positive impact on their development. So that's been really good. The thing is in an ideal world, we probably would have brought in a little bit more experience, not just for the players, but also for me as a young manager. Like, put a hand on my shoulder when the referees made the millionth incorrect call. But then equally, we felt that actually we've been on a really good run, and we've been pretty consistent since we come in. So we were conscious of why change something when it's clearly working or moving in the right direction. And we sort of thought, well, if there was going to be any changes staff-wise, we'd leave it to the summer. So we're nearly there. So that's something that we'll look at and see if we can evolve the staff a little bit. But it will certainly be evolution rather than revolution. There's not a lot to fix there, and that again is credit to the staff who have been superb.
Yeah, so you touched on the discipline side is interesting actually. We didn't really pick up a huge amount of suspensions, a couple of sendings off. Obviously, when you were in the stand, Ben stepped up rather admirably, and it was a great opportunity for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that side of things? We know decisions aren't always going to go our way. Is there anything we need to do or need to reflect on in terms of how we handle those situations?
It's difficult because I believe that the Pilot Field crowd, they want to see passion, they want to see blood and guts, they want to see people fighting for the shirt. And often that can boil over into ill discipline and frustration, and so I think it's all, but then what you don't want is, a lack of passion and a lack of desire and decisions going against you and everyone just accepting it. I think I think we can find a better balance. But if I had a choice of one or the other, I would rather us be over the top than undercooked. And I think the players understand that, and I think most importantly that the players understand that's what the supporters want to see. So I think, to be honest, I think we've dealt relatively well with the hand we've been dealt. I mean, without turning this into another conversation around match officials and referees and decisions, we've gone through it, and even the past week, we've had a penalty given against us for a handball outside the box, which wasn't handball. And the referee actually said to me after the game, because I know the referee really well, he said, I didn't want to give it, but the linesman give it. He said, I didn't really want to overrule him. You think, but then on the Saturday before, the linesman's got a better view. The referee doesn't want to consult the linesman, and it's just the lack of consistency. And then on Saturday against Canby Island, Finn Chapman gets fouled for a penalty, and we don't get it. It's just, I think that the quantity of decisions that we've been on the wrong end of has been something I've never seen before. So we're almost sort of gearing ourselves up for the Senior Cup final to almost go, right, we just need to assume that we're either going to get someone sent off for a moody decision or we're going to get a dodgy decision given against us. We've almost got to accept that. Because that's been the case fairly consistently. So to be honest, I haven't got too much criticism of the group in terms of how they dealt with it. I
thought at Potter's Bar actually they reacted extremely well, and they dug in, and they just got on with the game. So I thought they did really well on on Tuesday to come back from that penalty, and because Potter's Bar could have, they threw the kitchen sink at it then, but we stood up and everyone was counted, weren't they?
As I said, when I think back over the few months we've been in the job and working together, I can't think of there's too many times. Obviously, the Dicko one against Lewis was very frustrating in terms of how that was dealt with by the players out on the pitch. But equally, I understand. I do.
You've played, haven't you? So
I can understand where they're coming from. And again, it's that sort of the supporters that they want to see that passion, they want to see that desire, and sometimes that will boil over. But as I said, we'd rather that with people that are desperate to perform for the shirt than ultimately not care and take it or leave it. So all in all, I'm pretty proud of how the players and staff have dealt with some of the situations we've been faced with.
Yeah, and finally, I suppose talking about that passion, probably one of the big things you would like to change for next season is to get more home wins in front of that crowd, because that's the one glaring statistical figure is our away form against our home form this season, isn't it?
I think it's pretty straightforward though, the solution to it, and I've made that pretty clear. If we've got a decent service, we'll win games of football. I mean, away from home, we've won over 70% of games, and at home, we've won just over 40%. And the big difference is playing surface. So, if we can address that, we have to. We have to, because
number one on your wish list.
It needs to be. 100%. Because it does have a significantly negative impact on our level of performance. It's really difficult, and the thing is, it's when you've got a young group of players and you work all week on playing a certain way, and then you get onto a surface which just doesn't allow it to happen. That's very challenging. And then you could argue, well, why don't you change it for home games and then away games? But my experience tells me, one, the players are part-time for one, so we see them 2-3 times a week.
And there's a muscle memory and a mind.
But that's what I mean.
As well,
you're flipping between, we'll do this at home, we'll do this away. with a group of part-time players, the danger is you end up doing nothing particularly well.
Overcoach.
Well, no, it's not even that. You end up, you know, if we're going to be more direct and back to front, not being very good at it because we don't practice it enough. And like you said, muscle memory and stuff like that, familiarity with the style of play. Or if you're going to play a little bit shorter and a little bit more possession based, it's sort of, as I said, you end up just getting caught half and half and doing neither. And I think our away form just goes to show that if we can play on decent surfaces, it just shows what we can do. Because as I said, if we replicated our away form with our home form, we'd comfortably be in the playoffs, and we'd be a lot nearer to Chatham than what we are to Billericay. So yeah, that's the big request.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, brilliant. So, I mean, overall, a success, we would say. We go into the break. Obviously, we'll talk about the Horsham game separately, but we go into the break looking back on a 7th place, a rebuilt squad, re-engagement with the fans, who we're going to go and see some of them this evening at the Fans Forum.
Yeah.
So
be kind. Be kind.
Yeah, well, the Fans Forum tonight will be a lot better than it could have been some time ago, that's for sure. That re-engagement with the fans is there. The commercial side of the club around that is building as well. So, on the whole, a successful season, and we go into the final and the break in good shape, I would say. Yeah,
definitely. We've done pretty well, but again, we can't stop and we can't settle. It needs to be the starting point and the foundation, not the pinnacle of what we've done. So it'll very much be a case of, we've done all right, we've overachieved, if you like, in terms of what the expectations were. But from our perspective, we're very much looking at, right, how can we build on this? How can we improve? How can we move forwards and get closer to where we want to be?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Brilliant. Okay, we'll talk about the Horsham game separately, as promised. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.